What if I tell you that whatever belongs to you is mine? How would you feel if I say that whatever belongs to me is yours? I want you to take a moment to acknowledge two feelings most of you have had while processing these questions. A sense of happiness when I was a giver, and sense of concern when I was a taker. Almost everybody, including me, starts our life by chasing materialistic things as a taker. And most of us get stuck in a rat race. However, very few go beyond and they become a giver. Namaste Bhutan, Kuzangpula. Ayam nijaha paroveti gananan lagu chetasam. Udara charitanam tu Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Reference, Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Meaning, for a narrow-minded person, things belong to him or others. But for a person with broad mind, does not differentiate. For them, the universe is one big family where everyone belongs to that family, and everything is shared. The moment we understand the principle of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, we lay a rock-solid foundation for global inspiration and global impact. After working for almost a decade in the social and development sector, one thing which I have realized is everybody wants to do something good. However, very few take some action. Back in 2016, I was a master of ceremony for one of the programs at my office. On my way to the office, while I was driving, I saw a small, cute puppy trying to cross the road. Suddenly, it got hit by some part of one of the tires of a dumper truck. Tumbled, rolled, it was thrown away at a distance. Fortunately, it didn't come under the tire. It looked like it was dead, so I went to the office. In the evening, on my way home to my home, when I arrived at the same point, same location, I realized that in the morning, maybe I would have stopped and checked whether that puppy was dead or maybe alive. I could have given it some water or something I could have done. However, my mind was completely occupied with the things at office. I did not even realize the need of my intervention. Every person on this planet realizes their true potential of creating a global impact. However, often it's a late realization. Those who realize it at early stage of life, sooner the better, they go beyond and eventually become the epicenter of excellence. Now let's understand the concept of epicenter of excellence through the evolution model from a book called Evolving X Methodology for Entrepreneurship, written by a very famous author, Amol Nitave. That's me. So the basis for the assessment with respect to this model is Pareto's principle. The first and the foremost parameter is our major driving factor. What drives you? 80% of the people, they are driven by rewards, recognition, revenue, name, fame, money. 19% go beyond that and they are driven by change. But unfortunately, change is not good enough to bring some change in the world. It requires a thought process and efforts worth a transformation to ensure some change in the world. So 1% of the people in the world, they are driven by the thought of transformation. The second parameter are experiences and exposures. 80% of the people, they are stuck with a subject matter. 19%, maybe a domain or a sector. Hardly 1% of the people are going beyond to experience and explore life. The third parameter are roles and responsibilities. Again, 80% people, they remain as a participant of an ecosystem. 19%, they become a catalyst. And hardly 1%, they become a champion. And these champions involve catalysts to impact the participants. And fourth and the most important parameter is our skills and capacity. Unless we have right set of skills, capacity, our ideas would not become a reality. So again, 80% of the people, they develop basic skills like people skill, program management, project management. 19%, they become a strategic leader by understanding the importance of empathy, altruism. And hardly 1%, they go beyond to explore global perspectives. They understand policy level insights. And then they become the epicenter. Now, policy, it's just a document with some set of rules and regulations and guidelines. However, it is one of the best and most powerful tools to ensure any big transformation. I was amazed to learn about the climate action policy of Bhutan, the middle path. It is the much needed care and cure for our planet, our mother nature. Now, once we become amongst those 1% with respect to all these parameters, we can say that we are an epicenter of excellence, and then the job would be half done. The remaining part would be done when we start creating new set of epicenters, our replicas, so that together we can shake the world and ensure that global transformation. Now, it may seem real, practical, and possibly easy, but it's not. Otherwise, everybody would have been the epicenter of excellence, and the world would have been much more greener and a better place than it is today. A transformation needs reforms, financial support, infrastructure. Sometimes we are called as a rebel, but creating an impact is a journey from being a rebel to legend. I'm sure that many of you right here and out there on the video will vouch for the fact that transformation is not easy. It requires a lot of efforts. We have to navigate through various stages, inevitable challenges, unforeseen situations, a lot of surprises, rather shocks. What we are aspiring is a better future for youth who deserve better opportunities. However, it was not easy. In the process of building our legacy, I remember those sleepless nights of worries, empty bank account, the time when my mother sold her jewelry, my father sold his farm, we sold our flat to sustain our cause. Particularly the time at a medical store near maternity care, when I was waiting for my wife to come and pay 4,500 rupees, roughly $50, because I did not have money in my account. Today, by the virtue of our good karma and pure intentions, we have everything that we want as well as need. But it was not easy. It is like the Samudra Manthan story. The churning happens. These challenges, conflict of opinions, ideologies, thoughts, it is part and parcel of that churning that happens. However, like that story, we get the nectar only at the end. And that nectar makes us eternal. Now, let's understand how can we expedite the process of global impact. While creating that transformation, we must find some X factor. That X factor could be a technology, it could be innovation, it could be a process. And once we find that X factor, that will enable us achieve the moonshot of impact and transformation. For us, it is decentralization, replication, and technology that has been enabling us with respect to the global outreach and eventually global impact. Once we find that X factor, we have to position that X factor perfectly with respect to the E, that is us, epicenter of excellence, so that the equation becomes E raised to X. The greatest enability of human beings is the ability to understand the power of exponential factor and its impact. Now I have a question. How many of you believe that you can also create a global transformation? And what it would look like? A small course of action in our mind can result into a huge transformation impacting millions in the world. And that one course of action could be as simple as finding our purpose. Whenever I think what I'm doing, why I'm doing, I always think that maybe because I'm born on Janmashtami, perhaps the fraction of Lord Sri Krishna is propelling me on my path towards my dharma, towards my duty, towards everyone. Another thought, what if our rebirth happens on the very planet? Our next destination, if it happens to be the same planet, has to be a better place for at least us, and then for all. Throughout our life, we live our life like a taker. Whatever we accumulate will stay with us maybe for a couple of decades, or at max for a century. However, as a giver, whatever we spread, knowledge, love, care, compassion, becomes eternal, and that builds our legacy. Eventually, everything boils down to the concept of oneness. And it's our responsibility to take care of everything and everyone around us as a part of that one universal family. Because we may wear different attires of gender, race, species, but at the core, we are one and the same. We are part of that one universal family. So let's take care of each other, because Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Thank you so much.